Good evening. It's now it's now 7:39, and so I would like to welcome you all to this virtual meeting of Hounslow's licensing panel. I would like to welcome the members of the panel who are sitting this evening, as well as council officers who will be assisting members throughout the meeting. In addition, I would like to welcome members of the public who are watching this meeting at home. As you all may know, councils were required by law to revert to physical meetings from the 7th of May, but following the specific government announcement regarding the current situation in Hounslow, it has been decided that licensing panel hearings will be held virtually until further notice. The way this meeting will work will be that, as chair, I will be running the meeting and inviting people to speak. As it is very easy for people to speak over each other in meetings like this, I will ask each member or officer to speak in turn at the appropriate stage. This will mean that there should normally be no need for people to interrupt or to ask to speak. However, I shall make sure that members have ample opportunity to ask questions and to make comments on the reports and applications before them. The exception to this arrangement will be the legal committee or licensing officers who may turn on their microphones to alert me to any legal, governance or planning issue that needs to be addressed. Although I would expect this to be a rare occurrence, In addition, we have producer of the meeting from our ICT department who may also contact me if necessary, but I think that is unlikely if all goes well, as we hope it will. Certainly after all, little issues this evening. The etiquette for members of the panel and for officers who are expecting to speak will be to mute your microphones until you are asked to speak. This means that only one person will be speaking at a time, and there will be no background noise, making it easier for us all to follow the meeting and also for those watching at home. I will also ask members always to say who they are and when they make a contribution, and to speak slowly and clearly for the same reason. We have 3 members of the licensing committee with us this evening to form the licensing panel, and it is we who will be making the decisions. Officers of the council will provide assistance and advice as required, but the final decisions will be made by members. I would like to now introduce each of the members here tonight, one by one. I will start. My name is Gabriella Giles. I am a councillor for Chiswick Riverside, and I am chairing this licensing meeting due to technical difficulties, but I am also a member of the licensing committee and this panel this evening. So I will ask Councillor Atwa here to go next.
Hi, good evening everybody. I'm Harleen, Councillor Atwell here. I represent the Heston Central Ward. Thank you.
And Councillor Foote.
Hi, I'm Councillor Richard Foote. I'm the Chair of Licensing and I represent Hamworth Ward.
So could I please invite Nicola Harbour to introduce herself?
Hi there, my name's Nicola Harbour and I'm the Licensing Authority Officer.
And our legal advisor this evening.
Good evening, my name is Kenise Ali. I will be advising the panel this evening.
Thank you very much. We also have officers acting as a producing role for the technical side of the meeting, but as they are not expected to be involved in the discussions of the meeting, I will thank them for their help and not ask them to introduce themselves this evening. So everybody is already muted, and members of the public are reminded that the agenda and all the reports being considered by the panel this evening can be found on the council website under the licensing panel meetings page. So if you want to see them, that is where to look. I also want to make sure that all members have seen the agenda and reports. Please let me know if you haven't seen them. We have confirmation. I would like to remind members of the need to hear all of the evidence in each report we are considering tonight. This means that you should listen to the whole debate. Please do not pop out to make tea or walk the dog. This is a legal requirement. If you should find you are having technical problems and need to log out of the meeting and come back in again, please let me know immediately, ideally beforehand, but if not, afterwards. by turning on your microphone, this will be a permitted interruption. We can then decide how far we need to recap, if that is necessary, or if the members needs to not vote on that item. Finally, I would like to say any member of the public listening or watching, thank you for joining us this evening. We hope that this meeting will go well, but any virtual meetings may suffer from unexpected technical hitches, so please bear with us. I should also like to clarify that this meeting is being recorded and it will be made available on the Council's YouTube channel in the next few days. Contributors to the meeting are asked to remember that they will therefore be included in the recording of this public meeting. Thank you, and we'll now move on to the first item of the agenda. We now move on to the licensing application for decision at this meeting. This evening's application is an application for a variation of a premises license in respect to the Hot House Cafe in Turnham Green Ward, where we need two time contributions. I will ask the legal officer to alert me to when allocated timings have been reached. I will also ask her to alert me prior to the guillotine being reached if we have not concluded the meeting by that time. May I remind all members, officers and public speakers at this meeting to introduce themselves each time they speak and also to turn off their microphones when they have finished speaking. It is also important to speak slowly and clearly so that everyone can understand what you are saying. Finally, if you are making reference to any agenda documentation, please give the page and paragraph details. Fantastic. So, sorry, I'm just reading the instructions here. So I've confirmed the agenda item that's being considered, and I need to confirm who is speaking for the following. So who is speaking for the applicant, please? You're muted, Sammy.
It's myself, Sammy Ammer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And who is going to be, or other people who have made formal requests? So who has already agreed to speak on behalf of objectors, or who has made valid written representations?
It's Bill the clerk here, Councillor, and just interrupt. We have, there's Councillor Biddulph.
Yeah. And
in addition, from the public, we have Mr. Hamilton, who you can see he's phoned in. He's ending in 6-2. I think he may have be struggling to unmute at the moment.
Yeah, so it's *6, isn't it, to unmute?
But we also have a second member of the public who has sent in a representation, requested to speak. She successfully joined a rehearsal yesterday, but she hasn't joined us yet. This is Ms. Chalkowska. I've resent her an email and an Outlook calendar invitation in case she's accidentally deleted the invitation. She's not contacted me to say I can't get in, but I do know that she does want to speak and is committed to. So if she does turn up and joins the meeting, we may have a second member of the public, but she's at the moment we just have Mr. Hamilton and of course Councillor Biddulph.
Thank you, Bill. Can you please share the name in the chat so that I can make a note just in case?
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So the process for an application with speakers is as follows. So stage 1, officers will give their presentation on the application. The applicant will then be asked if they agree with the circumstances described in the officer's report. Once we have agreed, so stage 2 will be police licensing authority and other bodies. So once we have agreed the facts, they will then invite responsibility. Do I need to read this out or do I need to, sorry, shall I just continue reading it out? Yes, I will do. So stage 2, police licensing authority and other bodies case. Once we have agreed the facts, we will then invite any representatives from the licensing authority, the police or other responsible authority to speak about any submission for or against the application they have made, if they have chosen to submit a statement on this occasion. I should add that any officer representing the licensing authority at this stage will not be the one supporting the panel this evening, as this is kept entirely separate to ensure fairness. There will be a chance for everyone to ask questions of the relevant officers who have just spoken. The third stage will be the applicant's case. I will then invite the applicant to speak for 5 minutes in total and then answer questions from all other parties. There will then be questions of the applicants. Stage 4 will be other persons, including objectors, and we will ask other persons to explain their submissions, and everyone will be given the chance to ask questions of them. They will also have 5 minutes in total overall. I understand that as Councillor Biddulph is there as a ward councillor, she will be given a separate 5 minutes in that. So stage 5, I will then invite all parties to sum up their positions, with the applicants being entitled to the last word, with their summing up being the last to take place. The 6th stage will be panel deliberations. The panel will then leave the meeting to discuss the case and reach its decision. It will be joined by no one else except the legal officer who is there to give advice on the law, but will not be party to the decision. And then the final stage will be the decision. Once we've done that, we will return to this meeting to read out our decision on the application, and that will conclude the consideration of the item.
Chair, can I just clarify?
Yes, of course.
Maybe Kenise might just need to confirm, but Councillor Biddulph is making a presentation as a local councillor, but is not entitled to the question and answering session, which is something entirely different. Yeah. Thank
you for the clarification, Councillor Foote. We will start with the first stage. So we will therefore now begin the formal hearing of this case. I will start by inviting the licensing officer to introduce the report.
Thank you. Members are requested to determine an application for the variation of a premises licence in respect of the Hot House Cafe, 448 Chiswick High Road, Chiswick, having regard to representations received and the requirement to promote the 4 licensing objectives. This application has been made by Mr. Sami Amir. The applicant has proposed the following: supply of alcohol for consumption on the premises, Monday to Wednesday, 7 AM to 23:30, Thursday and Friday, 7 AM to 01:30, Saturday and Sunday, 8 AM to 01:30. Live music, Thursday to Sunday, 1900 hours to 2300 hours. Recorded music, Monday to Friday, 7 to 23:30. Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 23:30. Late night refreshment, Monday to Thursday and Sunday, 2300 hours to 1 AM. Friday and Saturday, 23 hours to 2:30 AM. Hours premises are open to the public, Monday to Wednesday, 7 to 23:30, Thursday and Friday, 7 to 01:30, Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 01:30. The application has been appropriately made and all procedures correctly followed. The application has been attached as Appendix A. The applicant has, however, confirmed he wishes to amend the hours in the original application to the following: supply of alcohol on the premises, Monday to Friday, 11 till midnight, Saturday and Sunday, 11 till half midnight. Live music to remain the same as on the original application. Recorded music, Monday to Sunday, 8 to 23:30. Late night refreshment, Monday to Wednesday, 2300 hours to 23:30, as on the original application. Thursday to Sunday, 2300 hours to half midnight. Hours open to the public, Monday to Sunday, 8 to half midnight. Please see the email correspondence attached as Appendix A1. A copy of the current premises licence has been attached as Appendix B. The premises are situated in an area of mixed residential and commercial properties. The appropriate ward and neighbouring ward councillors and responsible authorities have been consulted. Of those consultees identified in 6.2, There have been 5 representations received, 4 from other persons and 1 from a councillor. The representations in full have been attached as Appendix C. The Licensing Enforcement Officer has been liaising with the applicant and they have agreed conditions to be added to the licence if the application were to be granted. A copy of both the report and representations have been sent to the applicant, and it was a mistake. It was not sent to a solicitor as there was not one representing the applicant. Those making representations have been informed of the time and date of the licensing meeting and have been informed of their right to attend. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I will now ask the applicant if they agree to the circumstances as described by the officers. And just to clarify, this is not yet the time to put forward your own case. I just want to have a confirmation of the facts at this stage. Is that correct, Sammy? I can see you nodding. I don't know if we need verbal.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, do we have any submissions from the licensing authority or the police or any other responsible authority? So, fab. Sorry. So we don't need to ask any questions, so we'll go straight on to stage 3. Councillor Foot, I might need you to prompt me just to make sure I'm doing this correctly.
Absolutely correct, Councillor Giles.
Thank you.
It's one I always stumble over.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of information to read, and just
straight to stage 3 when there's
that's where we are.
So
we'll now go on to the applicant's case. We will move on to the submission from the applicants. May I ask you to state your name and address and give your reasons for the application. May I also remind you that you may only speak for a total of 5 minutes overall.
My name is Sami Amer. My address is 23 Chessman Court, Coney Ridgeway, W4 2TB. I have been running my business. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for attending this meeting, and a special thank for Nicola Harbour for taking the time, because it took us a while to arrange a time, and it was confusion with the timing, the opening time from the beginning, and the confusion with the licensing time as well. And this is what was the confusion. People thought the hot house will be serving alcohol from 7 a.m., which we are not opening at 7 a.m. as Ms. Joanna Bolduc knows about it. Anyway, I have accepted all the situation and have been visited by the enforcement officer, Charles Lee Henson, and put me all the conditions which I have accepted. Before the pandemic, my business has suffered a lot. Being struggling with allowing street food and lorry food to be operating outside the business park, and a lot of offices being closed, changed to flat. So my business was suffering before the pandemic, and came the pandemic, killed it all. And I was putting all my saving in the business, and I think Councillor Joanna Bolduc has noticed that and told me few changes I have to do, which I have done. And this is when I adapted the situation to carry on licensing, to extend my license for 1 hour extra, that's all. So the license will be there to have people coming over, to have a drink. This is my customer have asked me, this is what you want to have a drink, this extra hours, because closing at 11 o'clock, it wasn't helping my business. And I have actually, I used all my saving to carry on, to keep my business running As you can see, Chiswick High Road have so many business has closed. Natalisi, Burger, few business, Gomi Burger. I got so many names here which I can mention to you, and due to the rate, Gomi Burger, Cafe Rouge, all these business have closed because of the rate and as well as the rent. So I've tried to adapt my business to the current situation to be able to stay a little bit longer. Of course, I don't want to upset my my neighbors or my residents because they are my future customer, and everyone has complained. I did invite them to come and discuss with me what we can do. We can work together, so we can. If any noise, I can arrange it. Maybe in the end, I have invested money. But get two mobile air condition and fans, so I can, when we have any music there, so the door will be closed. And as well as that, I invested in a blind, which is a soundproof blind to stop any noise coming out. And was my one thing was my advice was the lady or the family living upstairs, exactly above me. And I always asked her if any noise coming from my place, and her advice, she said, I don't hear any noise from your place at all. And she said, you know, we used to let the noise. We have noise. We have got few bars and restaurant next to me, and which they have a back garden, which I have been accused. Actually, I have a back garden, which I don't have. I have a backyard in my shop. I don't have any back gardens there to allow any music coming out, which I don't have people going through the back, because if people have to go through the back, they have to go through my kitchen. Another thing is, I noticed is some few customers, all objectors have, well, some objector maybe is true, maybe I have it, but some of them was it not true, because I know where is that confusion is coming from next door to me, because as I've been informed, the license until 2 o'clock in the morning. I close by 11:30, and normally Monday to Tuesday and Wednesday I close early anyway. And that's all. I got into that situation to ask to extend my license so I'd be able to survive. Otherwise, my business will shut down, and that's all.
So I believe that's 5 minutes. Kaniz, can you confirm?
Yes, Chair, that's right. It's he's reached his 5 minute time limit exactly now.
Perfect. Thank you, Sami, Mr. Amir. So I will now have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant. I will first ask members to do so, then any officers from the police or authorities, and finally the other persons. However, I would like to remind everyone that legally you may only ask specific questions on the application. We cannot let this become a general discussion, and our legal advisor will intervene if questions are considered invalid under the Licensing Act of 2003. For example, we cannot consider issues like car parking problems, which are not within our scope. So I would first like to ask Councillor Atwell here to ask your questions. So go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt, councillors. It's Bill the clerk. Ms. Jalkowska has successfully dialed in, but I can see from participants on the right, she's phone number ending in 68. We don't have a mute or unmute symbol, and I'm unable to do anything about that. Sonia, are you able to allow phone number ending in 68 to present, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll just do that now.
Thank you, Sonia.
It's okay.
And once that's done, Ms. Jalkowska, you'll need to press star. Is it star 6 or 6 star, Sonia?
I believe
It's star 6.
*6. Thank you, Peter. Ms. Tchaikovsky, if you push *6, you should unmute and be able to ask questions. Sorry for the interruption, Chair. I just seen that the lady has a vehicle.
Bill, for some reason, when I'm clicking on OP, allow to present and change, it's not allowing me. It's not allowing me to click on change.
No, I'm unable to do it either. I was hoping. Well, I've not been able to do it all evening. I know you did earlier.
Hi, Bill. I'd recommend while the meeting's going on for that person
it's unmuted now.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me? Hi. Sorry.
Yes,
Thank you very much. I'm fine. Thank you.
sorry about that. Sorry about the interruption, Chair. I'll shut up.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much. It's good to know that everybody's connected and able to dial in. So I will hand over to Councillor Atwell here so she can ask her first questions.
Hi, Mr. Ahmed. Just those blinds that you're talking about that are blocking out the noise, could you just give me further information on that? Can't hear you.
Actually, I fitted a black blind in the door when I had all this complaint about the thing. I fitted black blind, which it cost me nearly £1,500. So as well as the door is closed now, I have a blind, so I was told it absorbs the noise, and I gone outside, me and my staff, and gone outside to hear if any noise, and hardly any noise coming from my place, and can hear it from other places, which I don't want to mention names. And I think Councillor Joanna Baldwin knows about it, and as well as Miss Nicola Harper knows about it. So I've been actually, and as well as that, I fitted noise limiter to everywhere around me. So I don't, as I said, I don't want to upset my neighbors. And this is what I have done.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any other questions? Fantastic. So Councillor Foote, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask?
Yes. Sammy, I'm sorry, I call you Sammy, then I'm not going to mess up your other names. Right, Sammy, two questions. One on drinking up time. I see that your sale of alcohol coincides with the closing of the premises, which doesn't leave any drinking up time of alcohol. So that would either mean that you've got people having to take alcohol out with them, which I think, if I remember rightly, your license application is for consumption of alcohol on premises, not off premise. So that would be difficult because the license won't allow them to take it off, or you need to change either the time of sale of alcohol to give 30 minutes drinking up time between the sale of the last drink and the closing of the premises. So we need to consider that during the evening. The second part was looking at the hours, and I'm looking on the appendix here now, so I'm presuming they're the correct hours that we should be looking at. But looking at the hours open to the public, I'm a bit concerned, and it also comes into the sale of alcohol, but it doesn't really show on here. But on the daily one that you showed earlier on, it referred to the hours Monday through Friday of being the earlier time closing, and then late closing Saturday and Sunday. Now that seemed to me to be not the way in which we would normally expect it. We would normally expect, if you were going to do late night closing, it would be Friday and Saturday, and that the Sunday would be early, in fact earlier than normal, because normally Sunday evening is the evening before people go into work on Monday morning. So there is a need to be able to deal with that. So I would like us to look at that timing on the Sunday, maybe swapping it over with the Friday. So the Friday was later, but the Sunday was earlier. And I would be looking at something on a Sunday being before midnight as closing time. That's all my questions at the moment, but I would like to hear your opinions upon what I've just said. Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to change everything. The reason I put actually, it was a bit of confusion in the beginning because the application was going back and forth between me and Miss Nicola Harbour, and we changed it because I was filling it as I'm blind. She said, no, you have to as a variance, so the timing has to be changed. And the reason I put this time because I looked at next door to me license, and they stayed until 1 o'clock, 12:30. I think I got the license from next door here, but I don't mind if I don't mind. I'm very flexible to change the time. Maybe Sunday we finish at 11:30. I don't mind to be if we can. I'm very flexible with that. So. And anything you put for me, I'm ready to accept it. And as I said, I don't want to upset my neighbors and my residents, so I want them to be my customer as well. So I filled it up because I'm trying just to make my business survive. That's all.
Okay, I mean, obviously we're unable to discuss what your neighbour's opening hours are. Because that's not part of the application. But no, I think that's fine. If we can adjust those hours for the supply of alcohol, that it's actually the supply of alcohol finishes 30 minutes before the closing of the premises. So you've got effectively a drinking up time, and then that way you're not going to have a problem, you know, either with them taking alcohol off the premises or staying there beyond the closing time.
I accept what the
and I think again the swap between Sunday and Friday, as we would like,
that would be ideal. Yeah.
That would be suitable. I have no other questions of the applicant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Foote. I think we've got a bit of a role reversal here, where you've answered, you've asked my questions in due course. So I don't believe I have any further questions. Although I saw something in the prevention of crime and disorder. You said that you have your CCTV system and it's available via a mobile device by the designated premises supervisor. Is there at least one person always on site during?
It's 2 persons, myself and my manager, always there, and plus 1 member of the staff and 1 in the kitchen.
Yeah. And then you said you ensure that alcohol is never served to people appearing to be drunk and only in accompaniment with food. Is that always that you serve food with alcohol, or?
We serve alcohol. We give them light meals with alcohol, and that is what the case with us.
Okay, so people can come in and just buy a drink if they wish, or they can't.
No.
Okay. So those are my questions right now. So I'm just going to find my spot. I was looking at the pieces. Does anybody else have questions of the applicant at this time? So I know we've got 2 people on the phone. If I could ask Mr. Hamilton to unmute first, and then I'll ask Ms. Chelkoska afterwards if you've got any questions, and then Councillor Bidoff. Mr. Hamilton, are you able to unmute? It's *9.
6.
Sorry, apologies.
Hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello. Hi. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to turn this off. I'm going to hear feedback. I'm sorry, you don't want me to make representations now, just a couple of questions.
Not at this time, it's questions to the applicant.
Sure. I think a couple of points have been made, which were some of mine, but the last point that you yourself made, Councillor, about just buying a drink, I would challenge that. Along with some other witnessing, I've seen people outside that are just there to drink. So I'd wonder how Mr. Amir would answer to that.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. Hamilton, for coming. And as you can see, I have sent you an email to come and meet me and to discuss what we can avoid the thing. As I know, I'm 448 and we have a shop, house, and so you are about 4 doors away from us. And I wish if you hear any noise, you're welcome to come and have a coffee with me. With food and thing, as I said, we supply them, we give them a light meal, which we put it in the table inside. Of course, people they go outside to smoke, and if you notice by 11 o'clock or even before 11 o'clock, we put a table inside, and we only allow people to go outside to smoke. And several times I have tried it, and it's me the one who closing the shop there. So we put some light meal. Is in the meal of sandwich, is a meal of a little mazza for them, like hummus, and people at this time at 11 o'clock, they don't wish to eat. And this is what I have discussed that with Councillor Joanna and with the enforcement officer, Charlie Hensey, and explained that situation, and he accepted as long as people don't go outside after 11 o'clock with a drink there, and this is all I let people go out to smoke. And I wish you to come to see my premises and to join us one day. And if you hear any noise, please come and talk to me. And as a matter of fact, I spoke to one who's living. He's one of my customers who's living in the flat below you, and I asked him, do you hear any noise coming from the hothouse? He said, at the moment, I don't hear anything, Sammy, and even a bus, and I don't hear anything at all. And I'm sorry, maybe he heard it in the bus when we opened the door, but now is a rule, is a shop, the door is closed and the blind is down. Even in a hot summer day, I insist, it's always been done this way.
Okay.
Mr. Hamilton, are there any other questions?
Not at the moment, no. I wouldn't wait for. I'll wait for later. Fantastic.
So you won't have any other opportunity to ask questions of the applicant?
That's fine. I really want to back up my original statement.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. So if you could mute yourself, I would ask Ms. Chelkowska to unmute.
Thank you.
So do you have any questions that you'd like to ask of the applicant?
Yeah, so my question is, so you're saying that sometimes you struggle to keep people, to not to allow people to go out after 11 o'clock. I did see people drinking and smoking at the same time around 11 o'clock. So how you envision managing those people not to go out about 1:30 in the morning? Because I understand there might not be the noise of the music at that time, but there will be the noise of the people standing in front of your premises, smoking, drinking, obviously laughing and having fun. So if you cannot control that at 11 o'clock when people are, let's say, not that drunk, how are you going to control it at 1:30 in the morning?
I don't think, I think you got it wrong. I never said, I never control my people at 11 o'clock.
So maybe while confirming before actually that Ms. Chelkowska, while you were on unable to connect, the licensing hours have changed from what was originally posted. So Nicola, are you able to reiterate those just for the sake of Ms. Chelkowska, who wasn't able to attend?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. The applicant has confirmed he wishes to amend the hours in from his original application, which are as follows: supply of alcohol on the premises, Monday to Friday 11 till midnight, Saturday and Sunday 11 till half midnight. Live music would be the same as the original application. Recorded music Monday to Sunday 8 to 23:30. Late night refreshment Monday to Wednesday 2300 hours to 23:30 as in the original application, and then Thursday to Sunday 2300 hours to half midnight. Hours open to the public Monday to Sunday 8 till half midnight.
Oh, thank you. So I will correct myself. So it's not going to be
and just to provide a little bit more information, Councillor Foot has asked to allow for a 30-minute period of grace between when alcohol is stopped serving and the closure of the premises.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine, but people will still have the alcohol, right? And they will still be outside drinking as they do that at the moment. So there still will be the noise coming from that. So how are you planning to control them? If you say,
I will make sure there is nobody goes outside with a drink, and I have arranged to have a security officer and myself standing there, so nobody will be going out or coming in. Nobody will be allowed to drink. It's only quick smoke and come back, and after 12 o'clock nobody will be allowed in. And as I said, you're welcome to come and see me anytime. And if anything, you're welcome to come and see me or call me anytime, if any time at all, and you will see what I will do. I'm not there. As I said, you are my future customer, and I would like to have a good relationship with all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ms. Chelkowska, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Biddulph, would you like to ask your questions?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, please. I just wanted to have some clarification, please, Sammy, on when you bring down the sound limiting blind, at what point do you bring it down, and is it every day? And
well, actually,
okay,
it's now every day when we have music. It's down from the time we start until we finish. As soon as finish the music, I bring it up and let people leave, like to show the thing. But as soon as we finish the music, I bring it up straight away.
And when do you bring it down? When does music start? Is it?
Almost as soon as they start, straight away between 7:30 and 8 o'clock is come down.
Right. Okay. So it's evening activity. Yeah. And sorry, you said you bring your tables outside in what time?
By 11 o'clock. It's already, as Mr. Charles Hennessy has put it in his condition, which I have accepted. In the first condition, he put it at 12 o'clock, and I told him, no, we'll bring it in at 12 because I don't want to encourage people to stand outside and make noise, so to sit outside. So I bring it in even before 11 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. And this may not be a question for you, and I may therefore be asking it of the wrong people, in which case I apologise. But when you talk about drinking and eating at the same time, it seems to me, as someone as a customer of other places, never mind whether it's of yours, that there comes a point where after you've eaten, you've still got some drink to drink. Is that prohibited? Is that what the licence is saying?
Sorry, I don't get that.
It may be a question that's not for you. It might be for, I don't know, the licensing officer or chairman, I don't know, but I'm just confused about how one can stop somebody who's been sitting at a table eating and drinking from drinking if they've finished eating, but they've still got drink to drink and they might want another drink. We all do that wherever we go. So I'm just wondering I just like that clarification. It doesn't quite.
So I was looking at the mandatory conditions under the Licensing Act, and maybe Nicola, you can help here a little bit, but I didn't see anything in the conditions under the current licence that there is a restriction on food with drink or drink with food.
No, drink after you've eaten, you know, when you've had your last mouthful.
Yeah, so there's no condition in the current licence that stipulates that food must be served with alcohol. So Nicola, I don't know if you're able to elaborate.
That's correct. Where our things stand now, no, you don't have to do that. That was brought in with regards to COVID rules, that you had to have a meal and you had to have a drink with a meal, with a substantial meal, and be seated. That no longer applies.
Okay.
So can we disregard that from this license application? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as the rules have gone back to as normal, as it were.
I'm at the confusion here, because I thought that part of what we were saying was that and what Sammy had said was that alcohol would be served with food, and that would be a condition.
I believe that was a condition suggested by Charlie Hennessy. That is a condition generally put on with regards to restaurants. It's just to stop the restaurant becoming just a bar, as it were. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, that's fine, as long as that's. I'm getting confused.
No, Councillor Foote, you're quite right there, and I think that's where this follow-up question comes from, in the fact that there doesn't seem to be any clarity on what has been asked, and so therefore, obviously, that will be part of our deliberation of the information we need to take into consideration in our deliberations.
Well, when I was, can I say something? With the discussion was when I had it with Charles Hennessy, he put the condition, if I'm to open until 1:30, we will have to have substantial meal. And my suggestion to him, if people come in at 11 o'clock, they come in just maybe for a light mezza or something, like they will not have substantial meal. So that's why he told me to close at 12:30 then, and this is what I have accepted.
Okay, Councillor Biddulph, did you have any other follow-up questions?
I'm still not clear, and I'm just thinking about myself as a customer and whether I would want to go somewhere where, if I have stopped eating, I'm not allowed to carry on finishing my drink. That's such an odd thing for me to consider, because you go out to have an evening out, and you might well have a full meal, you might not have a full meal, but you might still have drink to drink, and I don't want anybody, I don't see why anybody should be told to get up and leave because they haven't got some food in front of them. They've come to eat, they've eaten. I find
can I just address that?
Yes,
Point of order, Chair. That's not the situation we're proposing.
Okay.
So Nicola, could you please confirm?
Yeah. Looking at the conditions that Charlie's actually put forward and that have been agreed, they haven't put anything with regards to a substantial meal only being able to sell alcohol with that. I know with some of the restaurants that is a condition put on, but as Sammy was saying, he has agreed not to go past a certain time. So Charlie also agreed not to put that on as a condition because it wouldn't be needed.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. Councillor Biddulph, are there any other questions you'd like to ask?
No, just to say that needs to be really clearly stated, so there's no disagreement between neighbours about that. And commercial neighbours, I mean, I don't mean any
neighbours, right?
Any neighbours, yeah.
Fantastic. So we're done with that stage. So we're now on to stage 4. So I'm going to ask the other persons, including objectors, to now move your submissions. So again, we'll go in the same order if possible. So Mr. Hamilton, would you like to go? You will have 5 minutes to state your case. And so could I ask you to state your name and give the reasons for your submission? And I will interrupt you when 5 minutes is up. Oh no, yeah, and you're not sharing this time with Mr. Chelkowska, are you?
No, separately.
Okay, so do we then have to do 2.5 minutes each type thing? Nicola, Bill, Councillor Foote.
Yes, that's right, Chair. It's 5 minutes shared between the objectors.
So apologies, Mr. Hamilton. You'll have 2.5 minutes to state your case.
Oh, I thought I was going to get a little longer.
Yeah.
I would have asked a few more questions earlier if that was the case. Okay.
Yeah. Apologies. That's when I didn't know that Ms. Chelkowska was going to be joining.
Sure.
So if you give your piece, then we can, when you're ready, basically.
Thank you. In that case, would you excuse me for paraphrasing you type of bullet points and just to get through this? I've known Mr. Amir since he opened the place, and I know he's run a good place and it's a good business, and I have no problems with him or his business during the day. It's only after 9 o'clock that I've been having these problems for a number of years before lockdown. I'm glad to see that the live music has been addressed, but then when I saw the application, he doesn't even have a live music application license at the moment. So I'm wondering why that should be granted now. I've also worried about it becoming a bar rather than a restaurant, because I did send pictures in showing the pavement completely cluttered with his customers drinking outside and passers-by having to veer onto the road to go past. So, and that's in the last few weeks. So I don't see much has been done. I'm worried, very worried about pushing these hours later and later. I mean, I don't see why we need midweek hours at 12 o'clock on a Monday and a Tuesday. And I'm very worried about Sunday hours. The Sunday hours have been nationally much earlier for a very good reason, and that's because people get up in the morning. I think these are being pushed to beyond the real limit. And lastly, I'm worried about this late night refreshments. I don't think they're necessary at all. We do not want another late night, shall we say, takeaway kebab house here, when we have enough problems with dispersal from the other pubs and a 24-hour shop. We have enough problems with people in drink leaving the neighbourhood, and to give them reason to stay is not, I don't think, proper for this neighbourhood. I don't think it's going to improve things. Not sure how much longer I've got, but those are the main points for me. It's a Sunday, and the hours are just, I don't think they were adhered to beforehand, and I don't see why they should be extended if they weren't adhered to beforehand. A couple of years ago, I got time up.
Sorry to interrupt, Chair. Mr. Hamilton's time has exceeded.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Cannies. So I'm just thinking, do we ask questions now, or do we go through the rest of the other persons?
Yeah, complete other persons, Chair.
Yeah. So, Ms. Chalkowska, you'll have 2.5 minutes as well.
Thank you.
And we'll ask questions of you at various points.
Thank you. So I totally agree with Mr. Hamilton. And by the way, Mr. Hamilton, if you have anything to add while I'm talking, just please feel free to do it. I think I moved here to that area knowing that obviously we have one pub or two pubs established nearby. I think allowing to have a third establishment that's selling alcohol to the long hours in the evenings, that will not only increase the noise, but also that will increase the amount of people walking around the streets being drunk or under influence of alcohol. As a woman, I am not feeling safe in my area anymore, and I don't see the reason why we should be increasing those amount of people, and I don't see why I should feel unsafe to go outside in the place where I live. I think I understand that the owner has a premises to run, but my question to him would be, how would he feel to have, people coming and shouting around and being drunk around his house? The problem and the fear that I have as well is the fact that those people, after finishing hours, they either stay around the premises and they still kind of keep drinking, or they go to the nearby park where they are absolutely loud. We already cannot sleep. We already cannot have, and I have to go in the morning to work like everyone else, and that is not possible. So my question will be, why are we also allowing people to drink at 11 o'clock in the morning? Is that really needed? And why those extended hours are needed? I understand that you need to run your business, but we also have to live. We pay the rent, we pay the mortgages. Also, with the increased amount of, drunk people and the, let's say, danger that is coming with that, the value of our houses and our premises are going or will be going down, which I think is unfair to everyone who lives in that neighborhood. Mr. Hamilton, if you have anything else to add and we have time, please go ahead.
Thank you. I know that's well said. I don't think this is Mr. Amir. He's just adding to an existing problem. He's not creating a problem. He's just going to be adding to one that is already here. So I just don't see this push to get later and later and later, and especially on a Sunday. I don't think we should be entertaining it. I think it's laid out in the council's statement of licensing policy to try to keep to these hours as much as possible, and also within that statement it says it will pay attention to mixed residential business areas as well. So
thank you very much. I think that's the full 5 minutes that you've both shared between you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bidoff, would you you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Chair. And just to say that I work through the Chiswick Shops Task Force to help all and any independent businesses in particular succeed in Chiswick. And obviously as ward councillor, I also represent residents. Since putting in my submission to the panel, I've had 2 meetings with Sami at the hothouse, including one where his son was present. His son isn't local, but he was concerned about, well, he was in the area anyway and joined in the conversation because he was concerned about what was going on with this application, a large amount of which I think is down to confusion of the way in which the forms were filled in to start with. But that and other representations, including a couple that we've heard just now, show that there are concerns about the area generally. And as one has just said, it's not necessarily about the hothouse, it's about what carries on here anyway. It's quite a busy area, it's got a pub, it's got the Italians, it's got a restaurant opposite, an off-licence opposite, and of course the hothouse. So it is quite a busy area. And as with every road in Chiswick, it is not just a commercial road, it's also a residential road. So the 2 aspects do have to be borne in mind. I wonder if the issue is really about enforcement. We haven't had anybody here from enforcement or from the police to talk about what they might have experienced. I did talk to Sami quite a lot about problems with people who might want to finish their drink outside on a hot evening or even on a cold evening, and how to manage that, and not allowing them to leave, for example, with glasses, which is something Councillor Foote mentioned earlier. I'm concerned about restrictions that are imposed on one business because other businesses aren't complying. I think there should be parity, if anything, and that all businesses should have the same level of enforcement and restrictions put on them. So there's a general problem locally. I've been outside to the back to see the back area, that there have been accusations of that used as a drinking place late at night. It's a very sparse, uncomfortable backyard. I can't see that it would be attractive to anybody. And
I think that is just Connolly's. It's nothing else, just Connolly's in the back. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, well, I haven't had complaints about Connolly's. I've had complaints about Sami at the back. And I don't see how that can be, because it is such a horrible spot. Horrible. Sorry, Sami. It's a very sparse spot, very uncomfortable. And you do have to go through the kitchen. And I don't think customers would want to do that. It's just not in our nature to do that. Anyway, so it is in a section of the high road that is dominated by independents. They are different. They have different customers. I'm not sure the extent to which there's a clash here. And I also have obviously been in touch with residents because I've had representations from them, and I've asked them to keep logs of disturbances. And I wonder if a way forward isn't to see what happens and ask more residents to take logs of what's going on, and if they can identify where the noise is coming from, where the customers are coming from, that might help too. You can't stop a customer from buying a bottle of wine at liquor bins opposite and bringing it in front of anybody. There's no control over that after hours if the places are shut. So that's another issue that I think needs to be considered around. So as I said, I'm here to support all independent businesses. I have given Sami advice in the past about how to maximise his business and to bring in customers, and I would do that with absolutely any business involved in my role. So I think that's mostly all that I have to say. It's about parity and enforcement and just making the rules very, very clear. It seems from conversations I've had with Sammy that he does want to do his best for the local area, for the residents who live next to, above and around about. And I do see a spirit of willingness there, which I think maybe that could be enforced in conditions. I had some feedback there, so I hope I was intelligible and could be heard.
Yeah, and you've got about 37 seconds left. If there's anything else you'd like to add.
I don't think there is at this moment. Thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. I'll just mute myself while I pause my phone so it's not going silly alarms at different points. So we'll now have the opportunity to ask questions of the other persons. I will first ask members to do so, then any officers from the police or authorities, and finally the applicants. So Councillor Atwell here, are you around? I know you've turned off your camera.
I am, yes.
Are you ready to ask any questions? And
I don't have any, thanks.
Okay. Councillor Foot, do you have any questions?
I don't really, but I just think that one thing must be clarified. Councillor Bidoff talked about the residents keeping a register of some sort of disturbances. Can I just underline that would have no legal standing, and what you really need to do, and this is what I would recommend, and it isn't what is happening in not just here but in a whole host of places, is that if there is noise disturbance, then it's reported to the noise abatement people on the council, because then that is recorded. And then if we need to look at a license in relation to that, we have a record that we can go back to, and it has legal standing. So it's quite important that is understood, that, you know, the actions are there if there is noise disturbance, and I would suggest in the initial part that the application or the people go to the landlord first and ask them if they can reduce the sound. If it doesn't happen, then they can call in the noise abatement people to come in, and they will register it, and then that will be there. And it's very important that it's done in that way. But I don't really have any questions other than that, Chair.
Thank you for that clarification. I think that's very useful information to share in this forum. Councillor Bidoff, I see you've got your hand up. I hope it's in response to a question or statement.
It's just to add further clarification to Councillor Foot, who is correct that calling out the noise abatement team is fundamentally important, but there is also on the council's website a request to complete a log, because what they want to know about is whether these are repeated incidents or one-offs. And sometimes you can call the enforcement officer can't come around because they're busy, or noise abatement. So it's the two things running in tandem, according to the website that we have.
Fantastic. Well, that's useful. So I have questions of both Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Chalkowska. It's what would you both like to see as a result of this panel hearing this evening?
Personally, I would like to see the hours muted, especially on a Sunday. I understand that Mr. Amir does want to make up some business, but it is going into late night, and especially during the week, a 12:30 license is, I believe, excessive. And I believe the late night refreshment part of things will just add to problems in this vicinity. As I said, the Sunday hours I have special problems with. I was wondering, if I may ask a slightly tangential question, if the current premises licensing hours are published on the website, because I haven't been able to find them. If I had been able to find them, I think I would have made a report a few years ago, because I've noticed that the current licensing hours for Sunday are 10:30 in the evening, and yet I've been kept up at 12 o'clock midnight beforehand. And if I'd known that these hours were 22:30 beforehand, I would have been making a complaint and a noise nuisance.
Nicola, are you able to speak to that?
Yes, I am. There is a public register published on the council website, which gives the hours on that.
Under the licensing hours site, I couldn't find it.
Right, I'm not 100% sure myself what it is. All I can
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Sonia, because it's actually a list of all the licenses, and there are in excess of 1,000.
Sure.
So you've got to go through every license to find it, and it's chronological. It's not in any, it follows the date that it was issued.
So I can't check by premises.
You can, but you've got to
Right.
go through all 1,000 and find the one you want. And I know I do it frequently. I have a list here.
Oh, I couldn't find it. Is it on the licensing website?
No, there's that. No, that is part of the licensing website. It's there. It lists all of the licenses, but they're in chronological order of the license being issued. So some of them are back to the times when they transferred from magistrates to the local authority, and some of those licenses have got some archaic rules that we would countenance if they were coming up in front of us now. But we can't do anything about it because we cannot. I think a mention was made about making licenses common across there. We're not allowed to do that. We can't, unless we have a complaint against a license, we can't actually review a license just because we want to, or we want to tie it into other people. They have people have their license and they've got it, and as long as they behave themselves, they've got it forever and a day.
Yes, yeah, understood. Yes, if I could have found that, then I would have challenged this beforehand. So my final point is just I hope that we can restrict these hours, especially on a Sunday.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Szelkowska, is there any other questions you would like to ask at this time?
No, so I totally agree with Mr. Hamilton. I think the hours, have been already kind of going over. People do stay in front of the premises already, so I am very concerned about the extended hours and having those people being and standing in front of my premises as well for a longer period of time. So, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And
I would, if I may just quickly add, I would like to see the noise dampening effect when Mr. Amir does have live music, just to see if it does work. That's all.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Perfect. All right, and Councillor Biddulph, is there anything that you would like to see as a result of this panel?
Well, I suppose my concern is not to penalise somebody for another's failings. If there is noise coming from elsewhere late at night, and that's a concern, that should be a subject for enforcement, and that's a message really to Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Tchaikovsky, that there are actions they can take against that. And it seems to me be unfair to give restrictions to somebody else because another person is breaking their license, if that's what's happening. And I don't know, I haven't been able to visit and see what's going on late at night. I had hoped to before this panel meeting, but I haven't had a chance to.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Sorry, if I may just say something, like I understand that, but then by allowing this premises, we're doubling the noise, we're doubling the amount of people, we're doubling the danger. So I think I understand where you're saying we penalise, but by allowing this premises to be open longer, you penalise us, which I think is unfair. We pay the taxes, we pay the council taxes, and you penalising us for having a double noise and double danger. So I think it has to be taken into consideration as well.
So thank you, Ms. Tchaikovsky. I think we've noted your points. And
sorry, can I just clarify on a matter, Councillor?
Yes, of course, Councillor.
One of the issues, of course, in the latter parts of the pandemic, was that there were laws brought in nationally by the government to cover pavement licensing, which was outside of the council's review. So people were allowed to have tables on the pavement, just subject to obvious rules about ability for somebody with a pram or a wheelchair to be able to pass without going off the pavement. and those were there, and they were beyond the council's remit. That we did not have any power.
Councillor, that's not what we're talking about. I mean, I've sent pictures.
I'm sorry. Can I?
We're talking about on the actual pavement. When Mr. Amir already has his outside space he's got 3 or 4 tables out there. He has his outside space. We're talking about extended out onto the pavement outside of that outside space.
Well, that's something different, and that's not come up until you've just interrupted me.
I beg your pardon, sir, but I sent an email to Ms. Harbour with photos proving it the other day. So
I haven't seen those.
Sure.
Okay, so before we carry on, I just want to move on. I think we've heard everybody's opinions this evening, so I would like to move on to the last bit. So I will now invite those making representations if they have any final comments. I'd probably argue that we've already had those this evening. So please note that you cannot raise any new points at this stage, only summarise. So I will go to other persons, the applicants, because we don't have the police, there's nothing by the licensing authority or any other relevant authority. So Mr. Hamilton, Ms. Chelkowska and Councillor Biddulph, are there any things that you would like to add just in summation? And then I'll ask Mr. Amir to come to say a final bit.
I believe, to save time, I think I've made my points clear.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank
you very much. Mr. Amir, are there any final points that you would like to make? And I'd like to remind you not to introduce any new information at this stage.
Okay, now I'd like to thank you all for giving us the time. And I'd like to thank you for making it feel Chiswick is like a little village, it's a community. And Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Costa, as I said, you're welcome and make yourself known to me. The hot house is a different place than any other place. I call it home. It's a place which I welcome everyone. And I actually, you mentioned that, Ms. Costa, this you're afraid to walk. No, Chiswick is actually, you can walk in it anytime because there is people around there. And most of my customer, I don't call them customer, I call them friends. I call everyone friend. I help everyone there, and I'm trying to be as one. I'm a one-man band, and it's only one business there. And I do it because I enjoy to be with people, and that's all. And the reason I'm extending the hours is because I want my business to survive. And I got £44,000 rate and nearly £40,000 rent plus staff plus electricity, and that's all. And I'm really, I welcome you all to come in and to give me opinion and to be my customer. And as I always put it in our websites there, my local customer who live near me, they got 25% discount, and you're welcome there and welcome to come and see me. And as I wrote to every one of you to come and discuss it with me. And I'm a very humble man, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your statement, Mr. Amir. So we're moving on to the penultimate stage. So we're just going to go into our panel deliberations. So I would now like to invite our legal advisor to clarify the procedure for making the decision and what options are open to us as the licensing panel. So Kenise, would you like to read us through our options?
Thank you, Chair. So the panel has now had submissions from everyone attending today's hearing. The panel will now retire and go into the deliberation room to consider the application and the representations made. The panel has the option to 1, grant the application, or 2, grant in part or in full, subject to standard condition and with extra conditions, or thirdly, the panel can refuse the application. During the deliberation, only panel members will be present with myself as the legal advisor. As the legal advisor, I will not take part in the decision, but will be in attendance to advise the panel only. Chair, normally we say the deliberation shouldn't take anything more than 15 minutes, but if it takes any longer than 15 minutes, this will be conveyed by our support team. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to unmute myself. I would like to, we will now come to the stage where the panel will withdraw with the legal advisor in order to come to our final decision. We cannot tell you how long it will be, as it is important that we give it the full weight of consideration in our debate with all the evidence you have given us. However, we will try not to keep you waiting unnecessarily. I will therefore ask everyone involved in the meeting to turn off their video cameras and microphones while you're waiting for the panel to return. The meeting will still be live and viewable by the public, so please do not talk to each other with the cameras and microphones on, as this will mean you will be overheard. I would like to also ask you not to leave the meeting so that when you are here and ready and waiting for us to hear our decision. If you cannot wait, I thank you for your involvement. I therefore now formally ask my fellow members and our legal advisor to leave this meeting for the time being and will join me in our withdrawing meeting. Very interesting phrase. All right, we'll be back in probably about 15 minutes or so. Right, bye. Right, so are we all back? I think we're waiting for Councillor Foote. Do we think he's going to have issue? Oh, here he is. Perfect. So thank you for your patience. I'm sure there's probably a bit of a spiel that I have to share. Yeah, so thank you very much for your patience this evening. We have come to a decision. We were, all three of us, Councillor Atwell here, Councillor Foote and myself, were present for the entire debate on the application before we came to our decision, and we have agreed that for licensing hours, so opening hours Sunday to Thursday will be 8 AM until 23:30, with sale of alcohol from 11 AM until 2300, so 11 PM, and then Friday to Saturday opening hours will be 8 AM until half midnight, so 0:30, and alcohol sale between on Fridays and Saturdays between 11 AM and midnight. So anyone wishing to appeal this decision has the right to do so within the Magistrates' Court within 21 days from the date of the decision notice. You will receive written confirmation of this decision within 5 working days from tomorrow, I believe. So I think that's it. Kenise, is there anything else we need to add?
No, Councillor, you've covered all the main points.
Fantastic. So thank you very much for attending this meeting, and your comments have been greatly appreciated. So that is the end of this meeting, and we'll leave you to...
Can I just ask one question?
Of course.
Actually, I didn't get Sunday. What's the hours for Sunday?
So Sunday will be the same. So it's Sunday to Thursday. 8 AM till 23:30, with the sale of alcohol from 11 until 2300, and then Friday to Saturday until just 12:30 in the evening. Right. Thank you very much for your time, and go in good faith. I don't know. Speak to you soon. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Can I say one thing is? What about the live music?
Sorry, I didn't catch.
No changes from the original application in.
Okay, thank you very much.
I believe.
Yeah,
there were no changes to the original application, so it's not a consideration. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Standing in for me.
You're very welcome.
And the rest of you are lucky because you haven't had to stare at my face for the evening.
Thanks.
Cheers. Anyway,
very much.
All keep safe and keep well.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia and Peter. Thank you, Kenise. And
thank you, Bill.
Thank